Infinite Guitars is out and it released day one into Xbox Game Pass. The solid hand-drawn animation is matched with great music, but how is the game itself? It's a rhythm-timing turn-based RPG, a unique combo that felt exciting and new as I started playing. Does it hold up, and just what is going on in this guitar-filled world? Well, let's find out in the XboxEra review of Infinite Guitars. You are JJ, and you are traveling around your planet of disparate islands with your grandfather Miguel. In this world, people are powered by energy cores, and yours is broken. This issue with broken cores lies at the heart of what is occasionally a very intriguing plot. Now, I won't spoil any of it other than to say that characters go missing for far too long or end up feeling forgotten about entirely. The plot jumps from thread to thread with little care for cohesion, and it ends up feeling like a bit of a jumbled mess. Suffice it to say, you have a beat-up old ship that flies between a small number of landmasses, each with its own little civilization. You'll fly in and do a bunch of mundane tasks as you attempt to reach the end boss of each area. A few times you reach that boss after hours, only to be whisked back to the area's main hub for plot reasons. You then have to run all the way back to the boss, and that is because Infinite Guitars is a game that simply does not respect your time. Busy work is the name of this grime-filled game, and it kills what had started as a fantastically fun time. There is a lot of turn-based RPG here, but that twist is that instead of just choosing an attack and at most maybe trying to time a swing, you will take on at times a full-fledged timing-based rhythm game. It's like Rock Band, but only using the A, X, and Y buttons on your controller. There is a lot to the gameplay systems here, so let's dig a little deeper. There's a lot of combat in Infinite Guitars. I might call it a bit Skies of Arcadia-esque with how overwhelming the number of battles there are. You start in an overworld where you can move slowly or hold B to run, but doing that will narrow your field of vision in its 3/4 overhead view. This is dangerous because monsters and environmental hazards lurk around every corner. While exploring the open world, you'll find scrap, which grants you experience whenever you pick it up and is also your main resource. In town shops, you can buy items with it, and each character can equip them to gain either defense, attack, or health bonuses. There are also infinite shards, which you will use to upgrade your weaponry that you can find dotted around the landscape. Lastly, there are core charges that you'll find occasionally, which we'll get into more in the combat section. In true dungeon crawler fashion, you can bop unsuspecting enemies in the head with the press of X. As your guitar knocks them in the dome, you'll be granted the first attack in your turn-based combat. If the enemy hits you first, they get to go. And I felt cheated constantly after pressing X, only to have my character either do nothing or still get hit by the enemy first. Combat being turn-based, the computer actually goes after every single move you make. Even with a group of 4 players, you only get to choose one action before the computer goes again. And I'm just not a fan of this type of system, as it ends up leading to far more time where I was stuck playing defense, and it also meant that fights lasted far longer, and I got bored of what was otherwise a really fun combat system after only a couple of hours. Playing defense means you have to move from left to right and press A to dodge enemy attacks while on a 2D plane. These attacks come in time to the music and are denoted with a flashing crosshair. Time your dodge correctly and you'll gain core charge. My defense issue is how sometimes a perfect dodge led to me immediately being hit as the next attack was instant. It felt unfair far too often. Those core charges are used to either heal your character both in and out of combat, or add extra damage to your abilities by overcharging them. It's a really good system, at least early on. After fighting the same monsters with the same few moves for 8 hours straight, I ended up giving up. I had gotten the full crew together and nothing had really changed. On offense, it stayed the same the entire game. You have one move per character that requires you to fill a meter by holding X and letting go as close as you can to 100%. Mess up and it may loop around and you add about 1% or slightly more and your attack does no damage. The other system is that timing-based rhythm session. These require you to time press the AX and or Y buttons at specific moments. Maybe you need to hold one or two of them. Sometimes you gotta smash them real hard, or you just tap it at the right time. It's neat, and the music is great, so it is what kept me playing for so long. But again, the issue is that it never really evolved. I feel like 8 hours in one day was enough for me to realize that I had seen enough. I knew what the game was, and I found it far too repetitive to see it all the way through. And I feel bad because so much here is really good, like the art style and the music. Infinite Guitars features a lot of hand-drawn animation. It looks great both in these small overworld sections and pretty darn good in the up-close cutscenes and combat scenarios. It is a low frame rate look, but it's clean and I dig the style. Each island has its theme, like one full of water and another that has a scorching hot desert in it. The music is even better, with a variety of catchy tunes featuring blaring guitars that I loved hearing for the first 50 times. Much like every other part of the game, the music selection feels stretched out. After 30 minutes or so in each new area, I had heard the same few riffs a dozen times because of just how often the combat crops up. It is truly some fantastic music, and if the game had a shorter runtime, I think it could have carried it for me. As is, there's just too much in this game that frustrates me and feels like it's simply there to pad things out. Constant backtracking, a map system that is rarely helpful, and a quest log that never actually tells you what to do meant I ended up spending a lot of my time running around unsure of where to go or what to do. I imagine in the future, with a walkthrough guide, I could see a full run-through of the game being far shorter than what I experienced. The map doesn't even mark where your ship is parked, so if you forget, as I did in the first area, it means running around looking for it for nearly half an hour. Wrapping things up, Infinite Guitars had so much potential. It is a shame to see its wonderful music, killer art style, potentially intriguing story, and promising combat systems ruined by otherwise questionable design choices.